Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to Kiki and Kibitz. It's me, Mary, and I'm here tonight with my Monday Night Madness 90 Day Fiancé B90 Season 7, Episode 7, Maybe in Another Life. This episode really pissed me the fuck off. Between Renee and Brian, I have lots and lots of feelings. I hope all you guys had a great weekend. Thank you for joining me tonight. And let me know what you guys think as we go along. So, first, let's get into the most boring couple of B90, Tiger Lily and Adnan. I mean, these two, I could barely stay awake. I've rolled my eyes. I mean, besides her voice, she is just stupid AF. Yes, I said it. Stupid AF. Hi, Venus. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Menopausal Queen. Thank you all for joining me. So, I'm talking about Tiger Lily and how stupid she is. They are they pulled up to their honeymoon in the city of Petra. Petra is a beautiful city. I agree with Adnan. Yeah, me too, Evelyn. I can't stand them. So Petra's a gorgeous, gorgeous city. I mean, it's all pink. It has, mountains. It's beautiful. But Tiger Lily isn't happy. So we pick up where we left off last week. She stormed out of the car, okay, because she called Adnan a hypocrite, basically, because Adnan shook Shay's hand, which is okay, but Tiger Lily isn't allowed to shake Cruz's hand, to hug Cruz, to shake any man's hand, but it's okay for him to shake a woman's hand. So if a fight broke out in the car, she stormed out. She's upset and crying. And who goes to find out what's going on? Adnan's older brother, Tier. He is like a boil. He hasn't gone away. It's like every time you turn around, he's there. It's like, dude, this is your brother's relationship with his wife. This is not a three-way relationship. And like your brother said, he's the third wheel. It's like every time you turn around, he's there, like a boil. So anyway, he goes and he's like, Tiger Lily, what's going on? Why are you upset? And she's trying to explain that the way Adnan is behaving is very hypocritical. She starts to cry. He gives her tissues. He's like, no, 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 don't cry, don't cry. Then Adnan comes over and he's like, I want you to be happy. This is our honeymoon. I'm sorry. And she's like, oh, do you want me to fake being happy? Yeah, that's my question too. Why is the brother on the honeymoon? I mean, I understand her having her glam squad with her, but the brother, a little bit too much, okay? And like I said, the brother's like a boil. Every time you turn around, he's there. It's like, what the fuck? Go away. So anyway, Adnan is, trying to convince Tiger Lily, he's sorry, everything's okay. So they go off to enjoy their honeymoon. And guess what made Tiger Lily forget about everything? A camel ride. A camel ride was all she needed to put a pin into everything and to go back into honeymoon mode and to go stick her head up her ass again. And everything is okay. And she loves Adnan and he's the best. And she is impressed by the camel's long eyelashes like hers. I mean, Adnan asked her what was the best part of Petra, and she was like, seeing a camel that has long lashes like me. Like, girl, from what I saw of the city on TV, I want to go visit, and you were impressed by a camel. Sounds good to me, girl. Whatever makes you happy. Okay, so that's all it took was a camel ride to make them like this again. Okay. But then they're in the car on driving on the way back from Petra, and Tiger Lily has only 2 days left. Okay. This whole whirlwind trip is coming to an end. And guess what? They're going to have to go back to reality. Okay, they're gonna have to go back to video calls and texting and phone calls and things like that. And like Shay was trying to point out, the honeymoon phase is going to be over, and it's going to be rough, especially that you guys are apart. It's going to be really rough, especially, Adnan and all the rules that go with being a Muslim wife. Mm, excuse me, guys. I have Burger King for dinner tonight. I'm home alone. My men went to the Jets game, so I didn't cook. I ordered out, and the Whopper Jr. that I had was really fucking good. But I digress. So anyway, she's Shay is trying to bring them back to earth, to let them know that this honeymoon phase is going to be over. Okay. And once she gets back to the States, you guys are going to have real issues. And Adnan is like, why are you trying to make my wife nervous? Like, stop it. Stop talking about this stuff. And Lily and Tiger Lily's like, yeah, I know. But, she just really wants love to conquer all. Okay, so it's their last night together, and she's like really upset, because she's scared. It's scary knowing that they're going to have to face all these issues that they currently have, thousands of miles apart, and the spousal visa could take a really long time. So Tiger Lily's upset, and she's like, what are we gonna do, baby? And he's like, don't worry, everything's going to be okay because it has to be. So we see next week he's dropping her off at the airport and she's crying. I mean, these two, they're boring. I'm sorry, but they're boring to me. Yes, I agree. The Glam Squad has more sense than Tiger Lily and Adnan do themselves. Yes, they do. Just like most of the time, the kids on these shows have more sense than their parents. So Shay could see what's going to happen. Shay and Cruz could see what's going to happen, and Tiger Lily's just hoping love will conquer all. So at the end of every episode, a Tiger Lily goes on the gram and she answers a handful of questions about herself, Adnan, the episode. So yesterday, this was her question and answer sesh. Okay. So first of all, someone asked, how long has it been since you've been married? And she says, oh, sorry guys, give me 1 second. She says she's been married for over a year. Okay. Then someone else asked, where is she staying? And she's in the United States because that's where her kids need to be. She is homeschooling her kids. She didn't have any family at the wedding because she had a small family. She has a small family. Her youngest son cannot fly because of his food allergies. Her mom can't do air travel because she gets really bad nausea. And that's about all the family she has since her grandparents passed away. Um, and like I just said, she was only in Jordan for 6 days, and then I had to get back to my children. I didn't get to see a whole lot. Everything was also beautiful, though, and she was impressed by that camel, everybody. Okay. Someone asked her what was her favorite Jordan outfit, and it's the mustard colored dress with this headscarf. Will you and Adnan have any children together? We will have as many as God gives us. So then someone asked, what were your thoughts and impressions of Petra? Any interesting facts? Petra was beautiful and magical. And as we were walking, everyone passed us, told congratulations as if they knew we just got married. It was so interesting how they knew. Yeah, 6 days felt like a month to us. I agree. Boring AF. Anyway, finally, her last question and answer. Your time is your life. That is why the greatest gift you can give someone is your time. Thank you guys for all the support and loving your messages. And thank you for giving me your time, whether it's watching us on TV, sending us messages and comments. You are the greatest gift. And even thank you to the haters because they're helping us blow up. And so there you go. I believe this is all for attention. Adnan will come over here. Let's see how far he can get. Tiger Lily has a younger, good looking man on her arm, trophy husband, so to speak, but he's Muslim. So we all know that this is probably not going to turn out for the best. So anyway, we're going to move on to Niles and Matilda. Poor Niles. Poor Niles. I mean, he needs to tell her the truth. I'm afraid she's going to eat him alive, but he needs to tell her the truth. So it starts off with their next morning, and the foo-foo has gotten to Niles. He is in the bathroom blowing it up. He's like, honey, it's okay. I'm going to get used to it. I guess American food and foo-foo don't mix, but I'll get used to it. I apologize, honey. Guys, I apologize, but someone is knocking at my front door. I will be right back. I can't believe this is happening in the middle of my life. Give me 2 seconds. Only me. Me either. I hope it wasn't Angela. No, actually, it was my neighbor. She wanted to give me my Amazon package. I have a nice new neighbor, so, but only me. Only me. Someone will be knocking on my door in the middle of my life. Okay, back to what I was saying. The foo-foo. The foo-foo and Niles don't mix. Okay, so he's in the bathroom, finally comes out of the bathroom, and Matilda's like, you dogged me last night. And for a minute I was like, what? And she's like, I wanted sex and you told me no. You dogged me. And he's like, there was almost sex, but I was the one that had to stop it. I put the pin in it because I don't want this relationship just to be based on sex. Okay, so like he explained to Matilda and he explained to us, he only had one serious relationship before Matilda, and they rushed into sex. Okay, and it got to the point that that's all their relationship was all about the sex. And if Niles' mom and dad are watching me by any chance, please cover your ears. Okay. He said that his girl wanted it 6 times a day. He can't do it 6 times a day. He's not built for that. So he knows that he loves Matilda and that their relationship is, going to be outside of the bedroom. And, he's going to stick to his vow, waiting, until they get married to have sex. But he's wondering how Matilda's going to take this now once he also tells her that he wants to postpone the wedding. So now they go off to spend some quality time together. Her brother went back home and they're still in Accra, and they go down to the beach where Matilda finds a sea urchin and puts it in Niles's hand. Now I googled this to be sure. Sea urchins can be poisonous. So I was totally with him when he was like, I'm putting this back in the sea. I'm not fucking with this. I don't want to wait for my hand to blow up the size of my head to find out if this fucking thing is poisonous or not. So Matilda says that Niles is really, really soft. And Niles is like, listen, the way that I see it, you don't have to do stupid things to prove your manhood. And I'm with him. I am totally with him because I wouldn't fuck with that sea urchin, and I'm not a man. Okay, so he put it back at the sea. Matilda can make fun of him all he wants. He doesn't care. He's not going to do stupid stuff to prove that he's a man. But one thing he does need to do is tell Matilda that he wants to postpone their wedding. So now they're going shopping in Accra, which reminds him of New York City. Okay. Noise, people, vendors, traffic. So he may not look overstimulated on the outside, but on the inside, he is freaking the fuck out. Yes. Stephanie, I asked myself that question too. Is this the season of celibacy? Like, I don't get it. It seems to be a common theme. So they get to the city, and first thing, Matilda wanted to buy a dress for her knock door ceremony. You see, as part of the traditional wedding, first there's a knock door ceremony where the groom goes to the bride's house, knocks on the door, asks permission to marry her. The bride's family gives the groom a list of things that has to be brought to the traditional wedding, the bride's price. Does that sound familiar, guys? So, she Matilda wants to get a dress for the knocking door ceremony because she still doesn't know that Niles wants to postpone this stuff. So they go to the dress shop, and I'm sorry, I have to say this, but the shopkeeper, the sales lady, saw Niles coming from a mile away because that skirt you could get for $12.99 on fucking Amazon. Okay. That skirt is not worth $80. No way. So Niles, when they first told him that the skirt was $80, his first thought was, hell's no. No fucking way. No, no, no. Then he remembered that he's going to be dropping a bomb on Matilda. So maybe buying the skirt will kind of like, you know, level it out. Then he takes her to get a mani pedi. He's like, honey, go get your nails done. I'm gonna go, explore. She's like, are you sure? Yes, I'm gonna go explore. I want to explore. Okay. He goes exploring in a jewelry store because now he decides, besides the skirt that he was ripped off for, besides getting her a mani pedi, let me get her a ring. Okay. So when I tell her that we're not getting married on this trip and the 200 people that are coming to the traditional wedding that is not going to happen on this trip find out that the wedding's been postponed. So let me take the take the brunt off of this message, take the harshness out of this by giving you a ring. Now, next week, we see Niles give Matilda the ring. And then, of course, he didn't tell her when he gave the ring that he was postponing the wedding. So, all I have to say is Niles, you need to tell her. You really need to tell her. She's going to eat you alive. Better to get it over sooner than later. Um, he's afraid to tell her. He's autistic. I get it. But it just gets to the point that it's, you have to do what's right. And Matilda has her hopes up. She's thinking she's getting married. She's talking about doing a dance to let everybody know that she's taken and that Niles is her husband. I mean, she is like so excited, and he has no intention on doing any of this on this trip. Okay. The ring is a promise that he's going to come back and marry her, but just not on this trip. Niles, you need to come clean. That's all I'm saying, dude. You need to come clean. Next, we have a new couple to tear apart. Vanja and Bozo. Okay, and I have a feeling Bozo may live up to his name. So Vanya, she is a belly dancer. Let me rephrase that. A fire-eating belly dancer. Okay, she is a career woman. She has 4 careers going, okay? Besides the belly dancing gig, she is a vegan baker, a permanent makeup artist, and a pharmaceutical sales rep. Okay, and Vanja is on, you know, she is independent. She has her own house, her own car, all that good stuff. But one thing she would like is to have a man. Her last relationship was a total lie. Okay. She married this guy, and it turned out that he had a double life. She showed up to the house. He was sitting on the couch making out with another chick. So that's how that relationship ended 6 months ago. Okay. I'm sorry, 6 years ago. So she has been basically sex free. She calls herself a sex camel. We'll get into that in a minute. For 6 years. So she decided about 8 months ago to go home to Croatia. You know, she is originally from Bosnia. So she decided to take a trip home, you know, get back to her roots, and she downloaded a dating app, and this is where she met Bozo. He is a Croatian professional basketball player, and he has abs that she wants to wash laundry on, which I get it. Yeah, he has a nice set of abs. Now, he's funny, he's sweet, he's smart, he's everything she wants. But there's a little issue, okay? So Vanya meets up with her best friend, Fabiana, and Fabiana, you know, would be really, really happy for her, except for the fact that Bozo broke Vanya's heart a couple of months ago. A few months into the relationship, Vanya was setting up a trip to go see Bozo, and he, you know, suddenly called. First, he was acting weird. He wasn't picking up calls. He wasn't responding to texts. Then he suddenly called her and said, "Listen, I have a girlfriend here. Our relationship is over. Goodbye." But then a couple of months later, he got back in touch with her, and she says, you know, since the second go around, everything has been, you know, great. He's been even more attentive and loving and everything else. Her friend Fabiana, who has held her through ugly crying, snot flying, mascara running cry sessions, just wants her friend to be happy. And she's afraid that this guy is going to break her heart. So she's like, Vanya, please be careful. And Vanya's like, I know, but I think I finally deserve love. You know, it's been 6 long years and I deserve love, and this guy makes me happy. So now her cousin is coming over to help her pack for Croatia. And her cousin Sanyala also is not crazy about Bozo because of what he did to her. Because just a few months ago, he was like dumping her for another chick, and then suddenly he's like back in her life. So Sanyala just wants her to be happy. She's packing. Vanya's packing all of her skimpy stuff and her high heels. And Sanyala's like, oh, where are you going to be staying that you're going to be wearing all this stuff? And she's like, I got my own place because yeah, he kind of lives with his mom and his aunt. And her cousin's like, what? Why does a professional basketball player live with his mom and his aunt? And she's like, well, you know, he mentioned that he's been trying to save to get an apartment, and it's not like he's playing for the NBA. So the one thing that it turns out that her and Bozo have in common, unfortunately, is war trauma. Okay. Vanya was born in Bosnia. She said her childhood in Bosnia was like a fairy tale until she was about 10 years old when the war started. Okay. She remembers vividly that they were getting ready to leave her grandmother's house when the bombs started dropping and you could see the missiles. So they basically had to stay in their grandmother's house. They could never go home again. They had no electricity for a year, no running water for a year. They used to boil onions and flour, and that's what they called black soup, and that's what they ate for months. So, Vanya says going through such stress as a child, stress and trauma, especially due to a war, which you don't know if the next bomb is going to hit you. You're sitting in the basement of your grandparents' house, hearing bombs going off outside, feeling the ground shake and not knowing if the next bomb is going to fall directly on you. I mean, it traumatizes a person. And Vanya says it gave her that attitude of that she just has to grab life by the horns and just go with it. She has to take the risk. She deserves happiness and she's just going to go with it. So now she's preparing. She's getting ready to leave. Um, to go to Croatia. It's a flight from Orlando to Germany and then Germany to Croatia. Okay, she is packing her coconut scented air freshener that has her and Bozo's face on it so he could hang it in his car and think about her. And she has all her heels and sparkly stuff and she is ready to go. So now she's in the airport and she said, you know, um, let me give him a call. Let me give him a call. Let him know that I'm about to get on the plane. Let me check in with him. And it's like ring, 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 and he's not answering. Ring, ring, ring. He's not answering. She's texting him, no response. And now she's getting flashbacks on how he acted the last time when he started getting cold and then suddenly called her and said, listen, I have a girlfriend. Goodbye. So she's like, okay, I'm about to get on this plane. Hopefully he'll be there waiting for me at the airport. But yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna take the risk. I'm already at the airport. So, spoiler, as we see next week, he most likely is going to be at the airport. So, like I said, Vanya has, many, many careers. Okay. This is her vegan baking site. This is Vanya, the fire belly dancer. Here's some pictures of her eating fire. Look at those candles on top of her head. Insane. I mean, this shit is insane. And here's some pictures of Bozo, which, by the way, that's not his real full first name. Okay. It's some long Croatian name I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce with his basketball team. Okay. So let's see how this couple turns out. So far, it's not, it doesn't look that great. He's not answering the phone and she's about to get on the plane. Like, oh, what the fuck, dude? Don't you know that she's about to get on the plane? Why aren't you answering your phone? Now, speaking of what the fuck, dude, is Loren and Faith. Okay. So Faith decided that she was going to talk to him. He's been texting her, asking if they could talk. And she finally decided, okay. So she's like, I'm not coming into the room though. We're going to go out. We're going to go to the park. You can see here their body language. I mean, Faith looks like she doesn't even want to be breathing the same air as him at this moment. But they go to the park and Faith is, explaining to him that he has broken her trust. Okay. Faith asked him, every time you say that you're sleeping over someone's house, are you having sex with them? And he's like, not every time, maybe once a week. And she's like, I'm not feeling good about all of this. I mean, you have a disease. You've been cheating on me. And you say that you love me. I'm not feeling good about this. And then she sits there and she thinks for a minute. And I'm practically screaming at the TV, Faith, just tell him to go fuck himself and get up and walk away. And it turns out that he had made arrangements for them to go see her family the next day. He has already prepaid for everything. Her family is excited that they're coming. They can't wait to meet Loren, but she's like, I can't introduce him as my boyfriend, especially everything that's happened so far. And if my family was to find out what he's done so far, they wouldn't want me to be with somebody like him. So I can't introduce him as my boyfriend. And she tells Lauren that, when we go see my family, I'm not going to introduce you as my boyfriend. And he's like, so who am I going to be? This guy? You're lucky that she's not going to introduce you as this motherfucker that has a leaky penis. Are you kidding me? Okay, she can introduce you whatever way she wants to Loren. So they're gonna go see her family as good friends. And as we see next week, he's making her a bunch of empty promises. And I really hope that Faith, sees through all of his empty promises and bullshit and doesn't get her heart stomped on again. Okay? So, if anything, take his money and go build your family the house and then tell him to go fuck off. How about that? So, moving on. I wouldn't really want to hang out with somebody who looked like this in high school, but Loren is apparently going to be in New York this week. I bet you he's filming the tell all. He quickly posted this, but production must have called him and told him to take it the fuck down. So I'm still debating whether or not if I want to text him. Let me know what you people think. Should I text him and attempt to meet up with the fucking loon? So now I need to take a smoke for this one. Brian and Ingrid. I know, right, Barbara? Take the whole $46 and build a house for her family. Hey, he claimed that he was going to give her. He asked her, as we've seen in the next week's preview, do you want me to get some money and build your family a house? Hey, I would take that fucking money and run. Okay, don't give him any attention, but if I do, wear plastic gloves. I'm going to be wearing a plastic poncho if I do. I will wrap myself in plastic if I decide to meet up with him. Oh, that's it. This is a good question, guys. All right, let's take a poll real quick. Who do you guys think is worse, Brian or Loren? Let's talk about it in the comments real quick. My vote for this one, honestly, is Brian. Okay? Because Brian uses his disability of being paralyzed and in a wheelchair to try to gain sympathy and gaslight. Okay, so I mean, Loren's just creepy AF, and and honestly, he doesn't try to hide it. Okay, he's like, I have gonorrhea, I have a leaky penis, I've been cheating on Faith, I sleep with lady boys. He's just out there. Brian, on the other hand, he just gaslights and has a pity party due to the fact that he's disabled. And as someone who is disabled herself because of my seizure disorder, all I have to say to you is, Brian, fuck off. Okay? So let's get into it. So he is going to meet Ingrid's friends, the whores. Remember those? But we'll get into that in a second. So he goes to meet Ingrid's friends, and he's nervous to meet them because he really, wants to integrate himself into Ingrid's life. Her friends were like, oh, this is the famous Brian. So nice to meet you. One thing that they were pleasantly surprised, they were really surprised that she would like someone like this. Okay, he's much older, he's a wheelchair user, he's not her usual type, so they were surprised. And they said that possibly having a relationship could be difficult because of the ignorance that they would face. But they were supportive. They asked about their first love night together. And Ingrid is like, well, as a matter of fact, it didn't happen yet. And they're like, what do you mean you haven't had sex yet? So this is where Brian decides this is a good time to brag in front of Ingrid and her friends. You know, in the 15 years that I've been dating Brazilian chicks, I always have one in my bed on the first night that I get here. Ingrid looked at him like, what the fuck, squeeze me? Her friends, their mouths all dropped open. But he was like, but she's somebody special. She's beautiful. She's a catch. I'm not going to fuck this up with her. And they were all like, oh, okay, you know. And they were actually encouraging Ingrid to sleep with him. Now, Ingrid said hearing that he, you know, sleeps with women on the first night was more new information to her. Okay, something else that she has to digest. But he really likes her and he's been waiting to have sex with her. So she decided she was, you know, going to go back to the hotel with him. And they go back to the hotel and Brian has a little gift for her. Okay, you know, he's setting the mood for the night. He has some lingerie. He has some lotion. Okay. I'm sure he popped a half a blue pill while she was in the bathroom putting on the lingerie. Okay. So, you know, he starts giving her a massage and, you know, she's laying on her stomach, her butt all hanging out, and production leaves the room to give them some time, you know, some privacy. And an hour later, here's Brian and his pity party. He comes down and he's like, you know, after you guys left and whatever, we were getting ready, you know, we were getting down and dirty. And she asked me if I had a condom. And I said, no. And she was like, you know, hold on. We're not doing this without a condom. So he offers to go downtown instead. I don't want to get a strike from YouTube. To go downtown, to go take a walk with her downtown. And she's like, no, no. Like, I'm sorry. You forgot to bring the protection. And then now you want to do plan B. I'm not in the mood now. And girl, I would have totally done the same thing. And I believe that he fucking went off on her. Okay. He fucking flipped the fuck out because now, as we can see when he's talking to production, he flips it around and turns it on Ingrid. Yes, it's his fault for not having a condom, but the fact that she doesn't want to take a walk downtown with him, does that mean that she's not really attracted to him? You know, because that's one of his insecurities, that women don't like this whole thing because of, you know, him being in the wheelchair. They can't deal with the whole package. Is that what's going on here with Ingrid? Like, he flips it around on her. And it's like, no, douchebag. You didn't have protection. And then you wanted to go take a walk downtown? No. The answer is no. And Ingrid didn't want it. Like, what the fuck? Stop throwing temper tantrums when you don't get what you want. You're supposed to be a 51. I mean, how old are you? 45, 47, 51, 53-year-old man throwing a fucking temper tantrum because you didn't get any cooch? Are you kidding me? Like Ingrid said, as we see in the preview next week, the way that he was so eager, like he was dying, I could imagine the way he was acting. Okay, it totally turned her off. She's like, what the fuck? You can't wait one more night? I'll come back the next night and you have condoms and we'll do this. Like, but no, he threw a temper tantrum and now it's a pity party. We need to pity poor Brian in a wheelchair because he didn't get any cooch. Okay, so yes, we're going to call him Crying Brian from now on because that's all he does is cry, whine, and bitch. So I wonder if that scene was the reason why Brian had such a bone to pick with Ingrid when he picked up his super passenger. about 2 weeks ago or so. As Mary Pants reported, and she's the best, on Reddit, someone had posted a post with the video that they later deleted because they realized that they put their address in the video. Brian was spending about a 14 to 16-minute Uber ride talking about Ingrid and her friends, calling all of them whores and sex workers, and basically says that Ingrid has children because of her work in the sex trade, including one that has special needs. I mean, he said like a bunch of really, really disgusting things about Ingrid, which Ingrid hopped into Mary Pants's comments to respond. And her response was, I'm not a prostitute. I'm a single mother who gets up at 6 in the morning, gets her child ready for school. Then I go to my work. When I come back at 5 p.m., I pick up my son from school. I'm a mother who plays a very good role as a mother and father of my children. I'm proud to be who I am. I never killed. I never stole. I never used drugs. I never sold drugs. Never made promises to demons to give me wealth. Unlike if God thinks I deserve riches that give me health, honesty to acquire. Because I die poor if I had to ally with the devil to have money. So, Ingrid claps back at Brian, calling her a whore by saying, listen, at least I never sold drugs or used drugs to make money. Okay. So Ingrid, oh yes, if the Reddit user that uploaded that video and later deleted it happens to be watching this video, please, please DM either Mary Pants or I. Please. Thank you so much. So anyway, Ingrid posted that she was taking some time off of work. She has a twisted foot. Okay. And Brian is like, let's go. I bet you he's in New York this week for the tell-all. Because Loren is. Why wouldn't Brian be? Now, Brian is still currently married, okay, to a lovely, lovely young lady named Fran. The divorce has been dragging since the summer of 2023. And from what I understand, allegedly, Brian has been dragging it because assets are split 50-50 in Brazil, and he doesn't want his assets to be split. So things are dragging. And I assume while he was filming with Evelyn, while he was filming with Ingrid, he was still talking. I mean, he was still legally married to Fran. And from what I understand, allegedly, he was engaged to another woman while he was still legally married to Fran. So he married Fran. They broke up at one point. He allegedly was engaged to another woman. That engagement didn't work out. And then somewhere along the lines came Ingrid. The timing to me is totally off, but he's a douche. He's a fucking douche who uses his disability as a pity party crutch. Yes, I said it. Okay, so fuck off, Brian. So anyway, now we're going to move on to Renee and Chidi. And I wanted to jump through the fucking TV and slap the shit out of her. Okay. Um, I don't even know where to start. She wants Chidi to go back to the hotel with her. And poor Chidi, I mean, you could almost hear his brain racing. Okay. He's trying to figure out what to tell her, how to handle this, you know, how to handle Renee's anger, how to, with his sister, his brother-in-law, Renee. He's the one that's truly stuck in the middle. of all this, okay? So he's trying to figure out a way to handle Renee, not to make her mad, because he doesn't want to fight with her again, because honestly, Renee's not a person that will listen to someone all the way through. No, really, I'm glad, Chidi, that you finally figured all this out, okay? So anyway, she is like, the fact that you are making excuses by saying that you have to make arrangements, by packing your 3 pants, 5 shirts, 2 socks, 2 t-shirts, okay, and checking in with your sister and your brother-in-law is honestly humiliating and insulting. Listen, Renee, if I was Chidi, I wouldn't go fucking anywhere with you, especially that I'm blind, okay? Hell's no. I'm staying right the fuck where I belong, with my sister and my brother-in-law who will protect me, because this chick, who knows what she would do to him in private. That's all I'm saying, okay? We would have another behind closed doors Michael and Angela situation, in my opinion. Okay? So Chidi is like, let's try to figure out a solution. I don't want you to go. I want you to stay here. And she is just screaming at him. She is screaming and cursing, and not being reasonable. Like, she's just being a fucking lunatic, okay? And she's like, I need a real man. I don't need someone that has to constantly check in with his sister, and she's just like going fucking ballistic. Okay, Bernard comes in the room, and he's standing there. And I'm cracking up because he's standing there the whole time until he's like, Renee, I'm standing here. And I think we should talk this out and come to a solution. Then Victoria comes into the room with the baby on her hip. And that's one thing about Victoria. She will argue with you. She will get her point across, but her baby will not come down from her hip, okay? Because she's a mother first. So anyway, she got the baby on her hip. She is yelling at Renee. You know what's wrong with you? It's the fact that the way that you talk to Chidi, the way that you curse at him. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, this is the way you treat somebody that you love? And they're like screaming at each other. And Chidi's like, I know that her issue with my sister has nothing to do with my sister. Okay. It's something deeply rooted in her. And that was the smartest thing Chidi has said this whole season so far. Okay. He sees that she has deeply rooted issues, and she could go off at any time, off of anything. And I don't blame him for not wanting to go anywhere with her. So they're screaming at each other, Victoria and Renee. Victoria is calling her delusional, and tells her to calm down. And Renee says, calm down, girl. What do you guys think of that? Calm down, girl. I think that was very demeaning. Okay. But anyway, Renee's like, that's it. I'm done. Bernard's like, Renee, do you realize that you're talking to my wife this way? She doesn't give a shit. She starts yelling at Chidi, you better defend me. This is what I mean. This is where you better defend me. Flipping the fuck out. I thank God that he's blind so he can't see the crazy look in her eyes. I mean, she looked absolutely fucking deranged. And then she starts talking about the beginning of the world. When it was the beginning of the earth, there was no program. So you're stuck with your program, or whatever the fuck she said. I was like, what in the world is she talking about? Like, just shut up and leave already. And Chidi's like, she talks about things that makes no sense to people who have sense. And he really doesn't know what to do at this critical moment, because if Renee walks out, he knows this is the last time he's ever going to see her again. And this is the woman that he loves. But he doesn't want to choose between his family and Renee. They're not even married yet. Like, what the fuck? Okay, so Renee leaves. She's crying in the cab that she hates people. She hates everybody. She hates the world. And Chidi, it's honestly, he's like, thank goodness she's gone. Okay. He's oh, thank goodness. Crazy bitch is gone. So we shall see next week. But Renee, yo, okay. She has been posting on the gram again. She's been quiet for a little bit, but she started posting again this weekend. On the left is her post of today. She says, I stand my ground. I didn't waste 5 years of my life to go play patty cake with a little boy who can't get off of his sister's breast. When sister turned around, he tried to sexually get on me. When sister turned around, he asked me if I would go sign a marriage certificate. When sister turned around, he whispered for me to buy an apartment. Every time those cameras turned on, he either acted like he was in love or bulging his cock eye out at me and yelling. It's like he couldn't figure out what to say to make me go away. The person he is today is not the person that I was talking to. Best believe in possession because this guy is now mentally insane. On the right is what she posted, I believe on Saturday. I broke up with him. I don't need to control or use anyone. The way they portrayed me is a damn negative joke. But the pathetic part is here you have this boy that can't even stand up for the truth and for the person that he loved. He knows I was never controlling. He knows I was never mean. Edited. I call bullshit on that. He wanted to marry me, but he couldn't because of the family. I'm white. And because of the family, he speaks the way he now does. I am not desperate. I went to another country to see if this boy has it in his heart to love me the way he claimed. Unfortunately, he still breastfed and does not make any decisions on his own whatsoever. I don't put up with any negativities or lies. I ran from him. Upon my return, he called me a total of around 55 times. Once he was back home away from the sister. So Victoria has previously defended her brother in the beginning of the season. She says that Renee and Chidi met in 2018. They communicated very well until her madness. They later broke up and never spoke to each other for 2 to 3 years, only for Renee to call Chidi on June of last year, informing him about the show. Chidi wasn't even on social media because he was robbed of his Android phone and computer. He was in school then doing his MSc, which thank you to the follower that pointed out to me. It is like a master's program in Nigeria. So it was his direct line. Renee called because she couldn't reach him through the internet. She didn't even inform Chidi she was applying for the show, and Chidi had never known anything about it. 2 weeks later, the producers contacted Chidi for an interview. As a matter of fact, Chidi did the auditions with a borrowed phone. Renee was so desperate about the show, begging Chidi to help her. She couldn't afford the regular phone calls because she needed to be in regular touch with Chidi, hence social media. And Chidi not having a smartphone at that time was a big barrier, so she thought of getting a phone for him. Of course, she edited their chats for indictment, and it's all good. She used Chidi even when Chidi was seriously talking about marriage. She asked if he was crazy, if he wanted her to lose her child support. Chidi informed her he won't be sleeping together. She canceled the trip, blocked Chidi, and later on called Chidi asking, begging him just to maintain so they could smile to the camera. Chidi, for his part, hasn't said anything negative about Renee. He tries to keep all of his social media posts positive. I've said this once, I'll say it again. Victoria, I totally believe her. Okay, I believe that Renee sought out Chidi for the show. Um, Renee has been posting to threads since basically the first week of the season. So she leaked text messages. She said a whole bunch of crap about TLC and editing and Chidi and Victoria. I mean, she was just basically ranting and raving. Which I am not surprised if she was told not to come to the tell-all. According to Monsters and Critics, Renee and Chidi have been disinvited to the tell-all, and honestly, I'm disappointed because how many times do we have to deal with Angela's trashy, abusive ass on tell-alls? I would much rather see Renee over Angela Deem any fucking day. Okay, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I am. So Angela has um yelled in other cast members' faces, attacked another cast member's mom. Do we remember that? Avery's mom. Okay. And they still didn't ban her from tell alls. But apparently, because Renee has been so negative even before the season started and she started lashing out on social media, according to her, she was disinvited to the tell all. I don't know how much of this is true. I have a theory that Renee decided that she didn't want to do the tell all. So she basically told the producers to go fuck themselves and she's not going to get paid for that tell all episode. But I find it kind of fishy. You know, we all know how trashy 90 Day Fiance can be, especially with the likes of Angela and Ed and let's come and this season Loren and Brian. It's like, are you kidding me? So because Renee's negative, they disinvited her to the tell all. No, I would think they would give her a golden invitation. They love negativity, toxicity. Are you kidding me? That makes for a great fucking tell all. And then if you flash the camera like Angela did, you'll get an extra 100 points. Just saying. So I don't believe her. She says that she was disinvited because of her negativity. So speaking of good old Angela Dean, because we all know Renee is trying so hard to be Angela 2.0. I was minding my business the other night, just hanging out in bed with my husband, watching Food Network, when I was told that Angela was live again, talking crap about me. I would like to thank Thigh Trash Talking for sending this to me. And so this is Angela the other night. Now, mind you guys, remember she is suffocating from the effects of Hurricane Helene. She's suffering big time. She needs, she doesn't have any electricity. Scotty's gonna die because she needs dialysis and there's no electricity. They need paper plates. They need body wipes. I mean, they're roughing it. They're roughing it down there in Hazelhurst, from what I understand, from her besties on TikTok and from Angela herself. So the other night, Angela decided to get a little tipsy, a little tipsy, and I guess that was on her mind.
Bitch, I don't need you. I'm the one keeps you making money on here. These ones that hate me, I pay their rent. I pay their lights. I pay their McDonald's fee. I pay Kibbles and Bits motherfucking car payment. Oh, yeah, I do. Because without me, if that was just Mr. It, they would never made $1. It's me that's making the money.
I've been grown. I pay my bills. My bills are paid.
Thank you so much for IB Trash Talking for sending me that. And Angela, you're fucking funny. That's all I have to say. Because you know who pays my bills around here? My husband. His money is my money. My money is my money. That's the way things work around here. But anyway, so she's, suffering from the after effects of Helene. Her friends did a fundraiser Okay, I'm going to get into that in a minute. But for some reason, she thinks Kelly and I are hiding. I don't know where the fuck she gets that idea. Alcohol delusion?
Because on court, all these motherfuckers and Kibbles and Bits and Kelly and all that long man shit, they're gonna fucking hide like a fucking hermit. Because you know what? Come here. They're gonna be shocked about the God bless you. Yes, all I gotta say. And I don't come unless I got fucking absolutely proof of what I talk about.
Two little bits. Do you have anything better?
Thank you, Walking on Sunshine on TikTok for that. So after all that, right, Angela was talking about me for hours, from what I understand, on her live, like on and off, just like randomly babbling about me, going on and on. Her bestie posted this video because I posted to the gram that Angela was still calling Michael it. Did you notice that in the clip that I played? She called him Mr. It, kind of like Renee calling Chidi boy. It just doesn't sit right with me. Okay? So then her bestie decides to do a TikTok defending the right, Angela's right to call Michael Mr. It.
Better to do with your life besides stalking Angela? Because if you look above here, honey, cyber stalking is a federal offense. And that's what.
Hold on, guys. Let me just. Technical difficulty. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go.
What you're doing. She can call Michael it. She can call Michael Scamarella. She can call Michael scammer, liar, cheater, habitual liar. You know, tons of the names. And it is nothing wrong calling somebody that. Because, you know, as the world identifies different things, we call him that because that's what he is. And we don't give two fucks about your.
So what do you guys think about that? Is there something wrong with calling a human being it? Especially, and this is coming from an old white lady calling a black man it, Mr. It. I guess that makes her Mrs. It. Okay, let me know what you guys think, because that shit doesn't sit well with me. Just like Renee calling Chidi boy and telling Victoria calm down girl. And this is coming from an old white lady. This shit doesn't sit well with me at all.
Your car being paid off. You know, who am I? Who am I? So
obviously Angela cares about my car payment since she thinks she pays it. And honey, this is called marijuana. Maybe you should smoke some.
cyber stalk is a federal offense, honey. You need to stop doing it because you're the only one that seems to keep worrying about Angela when she don't give two fucks about you.
I was minding my business watching the Food Network in bed.
Because I thought Michael, you know, Michael, since you raised that money for him, he's your best friend. So I don't know why you're not talking about him more.
And you notice they bring up the GoFundMe. They always bring up the GoFundMe. GoFundMe envy is a bitch, guys. I'm telling you, it is a bitch.
About other people, but you really must be dying for money because you're talking about her.
So, speaking of dying for money, Angela's besties did a TikTok fundraiser for her and her family because, you know, they were ravished by Hurricane Helena. It's Hurricane Helene, you fucking idiot. But Hurricane Helena ravaged Angela, so they decided to do a fundraiser, and I decided to donate $2 to the Cash App, because instead of doing a GoFundMe like Michael did, where you could actually see how much money he collected, they just slap up the Cash App, the Venmo, the PayPal. So no one has any real idea how much money Angela has received, but I know for sure she received $2 because I sent her $2. And I'm happy to see that she was able to leave her family behind, suffering so much from the after effects of Hurricane Helene. She left them behind, came to New York, got all glammed up at her bestie Jen's salon, which is not too far from my house, by the way, and attended the Comic concert. Yeah, check this out.
90 Day Fiancé. Oh, shit. Okay. Check it out, yo. Yo. I'll take it to 3,000 like I was Andre. She said she the queen from 90 Day Fiancé. It's all good. Yo, shit is kind of scary. You say fiancé, we ain't getting married though. It's all good. Count sense came to carry it. When it come to this, you can get up on the chariot. It's like this, yo. A love supreme. This the team. Yo, she told me her name is Queen. When it come to this, yo, I gotta be witty. I gotta rock it for Brooklyn and New York City. Cause y'all here, I came to appear. When it comes to this thing, yo, I always think clear. Yo, somebody give me a beer or a rhyme. Yo, common sense coming off the head with mine. If y'all can just tell, my hair won't swell. I express this shit like I'm the Daily Mail. Yeah, it's like this, read it like Braille. When it come to this, I won't triple.
So it's good to see that Angela was able, to get herself back up, get herself all glammed up, and come to New York less than 2 weeks after Hurricane Helene ravaged her family. I mean, they were sitting in the dark, suffering. Scotty was going to die because she needed her dialysis, guys. And, they had no electricity and it was a dire situation. But I'm glad that Angela managed to find her way to New York City to go to a Comic concert. Who's the Scamarella? So that's basically it, guys. Thank you so much for watching me. Thank you all for joining me in the chat. I love you all. And I will see you guys actually tomorrow night. I am doing a special 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way recap with a special former cast co-host. Okay, so you guys stay tuned for that. It's going to be about 7-ish. Watch out for your notifications. I'll post it on the gram, all that other good stuff. So around 7-ish tomorrow night, I will be going live for my recap for The Other Way. So thank you so much, and have a good night, everybody. Love you all. Subscribe if you don't already, and hit that like button. See you next time. Bye, everybody.